Hey PM learners, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever worked on a project that felt like a ship drifting in a storm? No clear direction, everyone arguing about who makes decision, and by the end you have spent the entire budget but have absolutely nothing to show for it. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone. In fact, a huge chunk of project failures have nothing to do with how hard the team worked. They fail because of a missing critical foundation, project governance. In today's video, we are going to unpack exactly what project governance is, why it is the ultimate master blueprint for project success, who the key players are, and how you can implement it on your next project. We have even got some real world analogies that will make this super easy to understand. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, grab a notepad, and let's dive in. Think of project governance as the rules of the game. It is not just brew accuracy, it is that strategy framework that provides stability and direction to your project. Today, we are building the core blueprint for structured success. First, foundation. Before we can construct a staller governance model, we must lay the foundation. Let's start by understanding what we mean by oversight and how we separate strategic boundaries from the day-to-day chaos of executing tasks. Defining project governance. So let's start with a formal definition. What actually is project governance? Project governance is the oversight structure that defines how projects are approved, guided, and validated within an enterprise. It establishes the rules, the policies, and the systematic processes to ensure that project execution aligns with the company's long term business strategy. Let's use a real world analogy. Imagine you are building a massive new airport terminal. Project governance is like the city aviation authority. They set the environmental standards, define the overall budget cap, outline the safety regulations, and establish why the terminal is being built. Say to handle 10 million passengers by 2030. Now, project management, on the other hand, is the actual team pouring to concrete, installing the baggage belts, and managing the daily crew schedules. Governance is about doing the right things, making sure we are building the airport terminal the business actually need. Management is about doing things right, making sure the walls are straight and we are not wasting resources. Why governance matters? So, why does the distinction matter so much? Because project does not exist in a vacuum without a governance system. Three major failure points happen. First, strategic alignment. If the company's goal is to pivot to mobile first apps, but the PM team is secretly spending $500,000 on a desktop only software because it's cooler, governance steps in. The sponsor or steering board immediately blocks it because it fails the strategic alignment check. Second, proactive risk management. Good governance catches roadblocks early. If your airport project hits an unexpected geological fault line, the project manager doesn't just panic or make a multi-million dollar pivot on their own. They escalate it to the board through a predefined process to safely handle the cost impact. And third, it builds stakeholder confidence. When sponsors see regular, reliable, and transparent dashboard updates, they trust the team. No nasty surprises means no angry executive meetings. The three core pillars. To make governance work, you need to rely on three main pillars: structure, people, and information. Structure. So, your organization design. It is the sitemap of your governance. It defines who has the authority to sign off on a $50,000 change. What about a 500,000 change? How often do the steering committees meet? Second, people. People is about assigning unambiguous rules. We use a RACI matrix: responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed to make sure there are no duplicate tasks or finger pointing when things get tough. Third, information. Information is the lifeblood of governance. Even if you have the best strategy, if your communication channels are clogged, you will fail. This means defining automated status dashboards, milestones tracking reports, and standard KPIs. Key roles and responsibilities. The this brings us to a major question: who actually stirs the ship? When multiple stakeholders are involved, things get crowded. If everyone is in charge, then no one is in charge. Stabilizing clear documented roles is the only way to accelerate decision making. Critical governance roles. Let's break down the four critical actors in project governance. First, the project sponsor. This is typically a senior business executive. Think of them as the champion of the project. They own the financial business cases, secure the funding, and have ultimate accountability. If the project fails to deliver business value, it is on the sponsor. Second, the steering committee. This is a cross functional board of senior leaders who represent different parts of the business. If you are building a new software, your steering committee might include the chief marketing officer, the head of security, and the vice president of operations. They resolve massive interdependental dependencies. Third, the PMO, Project Management Office. The PMO defines the standards. They tell you, here is the approved status template. Here are the risk assignment models. Here are the compliance gates. They ensure all project managers are playing by the exact same playbook. Finally, the project manager. The project manager does not own the business case, they own the execution. Their job is to deliver the project scope on schedule, within budget, and report progress up to the board. Metric and performance quality. How do we measure if our project governance is working? Highly maturity organizations track this activity. One extremely effective metric is the GDQI of the Governance Deliverable Quality Index. It's calculated as the number of past audits divided by the total number of reviews multiplied by 100. For example, if your project management office reviews 10 key deliverables like the project charter, risk register, and cost baseline, and 9 of them pass on the first try, your GDQI is 90%. If it drops to 50%, it means your project team does not understand the standards or the standards are too complex. Mature governance aims for a GDQI of 95% or higher, ensuring high compliance and execution success. Governance versus management. Let's sum up the difference between governance and management in this cooperative table. This is a great slide to screenshot. The primary mandate. Governance focuses on doing the right things. Management focuses on doing things right. The focus window. Governance looks at the long-term hands on, realizing strategic return on investment. Management focuses on short to mid term sprints and immediate milestones. The key authority governance is steered by the sponsor and steering committee, while management is run the project manager and technical leads. The decisions governance approves budget raises, strategic pivots, or cancellation. Management decides on daily task schedule and resource distribution. Building your governance model. If you want to build a governance model for your team, follow these four simple progressive steps. First, define the scope. Figure out where the project limits are, what decisions are delegated to the project manager, and what decisions must go to the sponsor. Second, map the roles. Identify who is on your steering board and document an explicit RACI matrix. Third, set the cadence. Establish clear reporting expectations. Decide if status reports are weekly, steering meetings are monthly, and what metrics are displayed on the executive dashboard. Fourth, standardize and document. Write everything down in a formal project governance charter. It acts as the single source of truth for the entire life cycle. Top governance failure points. How now? Why do governance system fail? The data is eye-opening. A massive 45% of failures stem from unclear roles and ambiguities. RACI. If the sponsor thinks the project manager is signing off on regulatory approvals and the project manager thinks the sponsor is doing it, that oversight gap can halt a project completely. 30% fail due to poor stakeholder communication. 50% fail from a lack of executive sponsor buy-in, and only 10% fail because of inadequate metrics or technical data. This means that over 75% of failures are not technical, they are organizational and behavioral. Governance is about aligning people and creating absolute clarity. And that brings us to the end of our masterclass on project governance. Now, I want to hear from you. The PM Learn community, what is the biggest project governance challenge you have faced? Is it a sponsor who micromanages or a complete lack of steering committee? Let me know in the comments below. I read and reply to every single comments. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your fellow project managers, and don't forget to subscribe to PM Learn for more weekly project management secrets. Thank you everyone.